I'm just going to do a walk around my comic book room. This is the wall that faces west. Let's see if I can get the glare off that Action Comics. The idea of this wall is it's the iconic DC heroes. Because as a pre-pube, I found out all about the DC heroes from reading Justice League of America. But, you know, everybody's favorites: Batman, Detective Comics, World's Finest, Brave and the Bold. And that was my favorite comic of all time over here, Commandy, the Last Boy on Earth. And then we get into the Supermans. So these are mixed up between Action Comics and Superman. And some Commandies. So this one right here with the orange cover by Neal Adams. When I was a little boy, like 7 or 8 years old, that one was at the barber shop, and I asked the barber if I could take it home. That's not the copy of that. I just recollected a lot of the comics that brought me joy as a young man. Iron Fist was another one of my favorite comic books. And then they brought him and put him in with Luke Cage, Power Man. Because Marvel had to cut some titles. I was so mad I didn't follow John Byrne to Uncanny X-Men. I was mad. I was a kid. Hulk. So this Hulk right here with Glorian coming over the rainbow, very first Hulk I ever bought off a spin rack as a young man. And then the rest is history. He became one of my favorite characters. Probably I liked Hulk more than Spider-Man. And these are just my Faces covers. I mean, there's nothing fancy about these. They're not like highly collectible issues of comics. They're just comics that remind me of a time that, you know, everything was okay as long as I could find a place that sold comic books. I was okay. Didn't matter where I lived. So I never realized that Ron Lim's homage to Fantastic Four 72 was Silver Surfer Volume 2, number 50. Until I put them both together side by side. Instead of the Watcher, it's Thanos. And that's probably the one of the less expensive Silver Surfers that you can have in your collection. This was his second appearance. And then Joseph Michael Linsner's beautiful lady. And what is it? Jennifer Walters. The sensational She-Hulk. All right. But this was the newest thing I added to my collection, is moon covers. This one, I believe, was supposed to be a night shot, but the colorist got it wrong and they just went with it because it it worked, but I think it's supposed to be a moon. This cool Stephen Platt cover. Let's see. Is an homage to this one. It's just Spider-Man instead of Hulk. Here's a cool moon cover. I liked Todd McFarlane. We have the same birthday. I don't buy new comics anymore. I just buy old comics from the 70s. Let's see. And this is my Spider-Man wall. So Spider-Man was in 4 titles. Peter Parker. Webb is what came when they canceled Marvel Team Up. And then he had his own for a little while. And then that's the Marvel Team Up. And then these are the Amazings. I mean, these guys, you're talking an average of like 5s, and I've got a few 7.5s, but most of these are just reading copies. This is my Captain America spot. I got a chair in here. I'm trying to work around the chair. All right, and this is my X-Men spot, my Wolverine. These are all freehand things that I've done. That's just my single favorite Wolverine story arc, started in 48. And then you got the New Mutants. I don't have any of the Deadpools. I didn't like the writer, man. There was a lot of good writers in those years, but I didn't really like Fabian's stories. So, I mean, they're either the 70s or they're the 90s. So up here are my monsters. And then Famous Monsters magazine. First appearance of Fin Fang Foom. Of course, you gotta have Man-Thing in your monster collection. Famous Monsters. And then these, even though they're in comic books, I was reading these characters. I kind of, when you graduate from comic books, I was reading these little 75-cent Bantam paperbacks by Robert E. Howard and Kenneth Robeson. So these are my Pulp Fiction walls. Caricature of me in my younger days. My Black Panthers. Actually, it's Jungle Action. I never knew that was a Gil Kane cover. Or John Byrne? I'm not sure. Tarzan was always a good title to pick up. If there was one on the rack, I picked it up. I like the comics better than the novellas. And these are my war comics. It's just a sample of the things that I used to collect when I was a kid, man. My fantasy little wall. Joe Kubert. My first check from from Hi-Fi Coloring. Another little thing that I colored wrong. Let's get out my Star Wars. It's just a, there's the Moon's Wrath. Another one. Jim Aparo. Nestor Redondo. So I missed out when they first started coming out, but Swamp Thing was one of my favorite books to read and try to draw like Bernie, the cool unmen. But that particular issue had both 1 and 2. Even though it was a reprint, it was kind of better than the first ones. In a way. And that's it.